Beloved, you are not here by accident. Something deep within you is longing to be free, not only free from debt, free from worry, free from struggle, but free to live fully, joyfully, abundantly, as you were divinely designed. Financial freedom is not reserved for a chosen few. It is the natural inheritance of every soul who dares to align with the law of supply. You may think the lack of money is your problem, but the real prison is fear, doubt, and unbelief. Once you shift your consciousness, wealth begins to flow where before there was only dryness. Stay with me until the end of this message, for I will reveal to you 10 steps that will completely transform the way you see money, prosperity, and your own life. Miss a single step, and you might miss the very key that could unlock your abundance. The journey to financial freedom begins not with money, but with mind and spirit, for money is only a symbol, a reflection of your inner state. True prosperity is first claimed in the invisible, and then it shows itself in the visible. Let us walk together through the 10 steps that lead to freedom. Money is not just coins and paper, not just numbers in your account or figures on a balance sheet. It is energy, pure energy, and it responds faithfully to the vibration you hold within. It does not move on its own, nor does it carry consciousness of its own, but it reflects the consciousness of the one who handles it. When you understand this, you stop fearing money, you stop chasing it in desperation, and you begin to see it as a faithful servant, always willing to do the bidding of your inner state. People who fear money often repel it, just as surely as those who worship it become enslaved by it. But those who treat it as energy, as a tool, as a servant begin to master it, and mastery is the true beginning of financial freedom. Think of money as a mirror, it reflects the thought you project onto it. If you approach money with guilt, shame or fear, it mirrors that energy back to you in the form of loss, lack, and constant struggle. If you approach money with confidence, gratitude, and expectation of good, it mirrors that back in the form of opportunities, growth, and multiplication. This is why two people with the same job, same pay, and same background can experience completely different financial realities. One lives in lack, while the other thrives in abundance. The difference is not in the paycheck, but in the energy they hold around money. The one who sees money as a servant attracts more of it, while the one who fears it pushes it away without even realizing it. Money has always been energy in motion. When it flows freely, it circulates blessings. When it is hoarded in fear, it stagnates. The river that flows is alive, the river that is dammed becomes stale. So too with money. It is not meant to be clutched in desperation, but to be used, to be blessed, to be circulated with faith that more always returns. Every time you spend money, you are sending energy out, and it will return multiplied according to the intention you placed upon it. If you spend with fear, saying to yourself, "This is leaving me, and I may never have enough again," then you have sealed your energy in a box of lack. But if you spend with joy, affirming, "This money returns to me multiplied, it blesses me as I bless others," then you have set the energy free, and it must return with increase. Every dollar you touch carries your thought upon it. Imagine for a moment handing someone a bill that has been infused with gratitude and joy. That energy does not vanish, it continues to circulate, touching others, and eventually making its way back to you. This is why it is important never to speak ill of money, never to call it hard, evil, or scarce. For those words charge it with heavy energy, and money under such weight struggles to return. Instead, charge your money with words of power. You are blessed, you multiply, you bring increase everywhere you go. In this way you turn every coin, every note, every figure in your account into a carrier of abundance. If you study nature, you will see that energy never rests. It is always moving, always flowing, always transforming. The same is true of money. It responds not to your labor alone, but to the consciousness behind your labor. You can work long hours, sweat and toil, and yet remain broke, because your energy around money is heavy with fear. Or you can take inspired action with the consciousness of abundance, and money will flow to you with ease, for the energy you hold draws it in like a magnet. Many people say, "I will think positively once I have more money." But the law is the reverse. You must hold the energy of wealth before wealth arrives. If you keep affirming lack, if you keep dwelling on bills, debts, and worries, you are charging money with the vibration of absence, and that is what it reflects. But if you affirm prosperity, even when your pockets are light, if you hold the vibration of joy even when the numbers seem small, you are setting the stage for multiplication. Money will flow where joy invites it, not where fear barricades it. To recognize money as energy is also to stop worshiping it. Money is not your master, it is a servant, a faithful tool. Too many people place it upon a throne and live in bondage to it, thinking their value is tied to how much they possess. But true freedom comes when you see money as simply one channel of infinite supply. The source of your provision is greater than money, and when you align with that source, money becomes obedient. It will follow you, not the other way around. You were never meant to chase money. You were meant to attract it by standing in your power, holding the vibration of abundance, and speaking words of command. When you say, "Money comes easily and frequently to me," you are not describing what you see, you are commanding what must come. The energy obeys. But when you say, "Money is so hard to earn, it always slips away from me," you are commanding that very condition, and the energy obeys that too. This is why your words must match the truth you desire, not the condition you fear. Your outer world will always follow your inner command. Money is also a reflection of self-worth. Those who believe they are unworthy unconsciously repel it. They may find ways to sabotage opportunities, spend recklessly, or turn away blessings, all because deep down they feel undeserving. But those who know their worth stand open to receive. They know that money flows naturally to the one who believes he is worthy of it. Worthiness is not arrogance. It is simply aligning with the truth that you are a child of infinite supply, and abundance is your birthright. Begin today to shift your perspective on money. See it as energy, a neutral force ready to serve you. Bless it when it comes, bless it when it goes. Handle it with joy, not fear. Charge it with words of increase, not decrease. Refuse to call it hard, scarce, or evil. Instead, declare that it is abundant, obedient, and ever-flowing. When you do this consistently, you will notice a change. Money will no longer slip away. It will begin to stay, to multiply, to flow back toward you in streams of unexpected blessing. The shift will not begin outside. It will begin inside, in your words, your thoughts, and your recognition of money as energy responding to you. Fear is the great thief, the silent robber that steals more dreams, more wealth, and more joy than any outer circumstance ever could. It disguises itself as caution, as practicality, as wisdom, yet underneath, it is nothing more than a belief in lack, a denial of the infinite supply that is always available. Fear whispers constantly, "There is not enough. You will lose what little you have. You must hold tightly. You must scramble. You must beg." It builds walls inside the mind and convinces the heart that scarcity is the truth. Yet the universe does not operate on scarcity. It operates on overflowing abundance. Look at the stars scattered without measure, the oceans stretching beyond sight, the endless fields of grain, the countless leaves on every tree. Lack is not the natural law, it is an illusion created by the human mind. When you live in fear of lack, you shut yourself off from the flow of supply. It is as though a river runs by your door, yet you refuse to open the gate, convinced that one day the river may run dry. In that refusal, you starve in the midst of plenty. Fear paralyzes the hands from giving, it blinds the eyes from seeing opportunity, it closes the ears from hearing guidance, and it blocks the heart from receiving blessings. The man or woman who clings to fear of lack finds themselves running endlessly in circles, never satisfied, always anxious, always in bondage to the thought that there will never be enough. But the truth is this: there is always enough, more than enough, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Supply does not end, it does not shrink when one person partakes of it, for it is infinite. One man's blessing does not diminish another's, one woman's abundance does not take from another's portion. The universe is not divided into slices of pie where one must compete for the last piece. It is a boundless bakery where more pies are always in the making. The idea of lack is an invention of fear, and until you confront it, it will hold you in bondage. To release fear of lack, you must first confront its voice. Fear speaks in absolutes. You will fail, you will lose, you will never have enough. It paints the future in dark shadows. But you must answer fear with faith, not by reasoning with it, but by declaring the truth above it. When fear says, "There is not enough," you affirm, "There is always more than enough for me." When fear says, "You may not pay this bill," you affirm, "Every bill is paid in divine order and money comes from expected and unexpected channels." By speaking truth over fear, you silence its power. Fear cannot live in the presence of steady, unwavering faith. Releasing fear is also an act of trust. Trust that the same intelligence that clothed the lilies of the field, that feeds the birds of the air, that spins the planets in perfect order, is the same intelligence that provides for you. Trust that you are not abandoned, not overlooked, not forgotten in the grand design. Trust that supply is part of your divine inheritance and cannot be withheld unless you yourself turn it away through disbelief. Trust transforms fear into confidence, and confidence opens the floodgates of provision. When you hold fear of lack, your actions mirror it. You may hesitate to invest in yourself, afraid the money will not return. You may refuse to give, believing you cannot afford to. You may cling to possessions long past their usefulness, holding tightly to scraps while turning away abundance. This is how fear manifests, in stinginess, in worry, in hoarding, in constant doubt. But when fear is released, actions shift. You give freely, you spend joyfully, you invest wisely, you open your hand knowing that what leaves must return. You no longer shrink back at opportunity, for you know that every step taken in faith is multiplied. Consider how fear enslaves the mind. It keeps you awake at night, turning over numbers, bills, losses, debts. It fills your heart with dread every time a new responsibility arises. It forces you into decisions born of panic instead of wisdom, quick fixes instead of steady progress. And yet, none of this fear creates solutions. Worry never deposits money into your account, anxiety never writes a check, dread never pays a bill. All fear does is magnify the problem and shrink your vision of possibility. But when fear is cast out, clarity returns, creativity blossoms, ideas appear, and solutions unfold. What once seemed impossible becomes possible, for your mind is no longer shackled. To live free of fear of lack is to live in the flow of gratitude. Gratitude sees what is present and calls it good. Fear says, "It is too little, it is not enough," but gratitude says, "Thank you for this, it is more than I deserve, and I know more is coming." Gratitude multiplies whatever it touches, while fear diminishes it. When you look at your money with gratitude, even if it is a single coin, you place it in the energy of increase. When you bless your resources instead of cursing them, you align them with expansion instead of contraction. Gratitude is the antidote to fear, for one cannot be truly thankful and fearful in the same breath. You must also train your imagination to break free of fear's grip. Fear paints pictures of ruin, bankruptcy, homelessness, shame, humiliation. It magnifies worst-case scenarios and convinces the mind that they are inevitable. But imagination can be trained to paint new pictures, pictures of plenty, pictures of freedom, pictures of wealth and joy. See yourself living without fear. See yourself provided for. See yourself giving freely. See yourself at peace. The mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced. By imagining abundance, you shift your inner state, and by shifting your inner state, you change your outer experience. Releasing fear of lack is not a one-time act, it is a practice, a daily renewal. Each day fear will try to whisper again, but each day you answer it with faith, gratitude, and vision. You may feel the tremor of doubt, but you do not bow to it. You stand firm in the knowledge that lack is a lie, that supply is eternal, that every need is already met. And slowly, surely, fear loses its grip, until one day you find yourself truly free, able to look at money, at bills, at responsibilities with calm assurance, knowing that you are supported, knowing that you are never without, knowing that you are always cared for. Your words are your wand, and every syllable you speak carries creative power, whether you are conscious of it or not. The universe listens not only to what you pray in secret, but to what you declare casually in everyday conversation. Too often, people sabotage their own prosperity by the careless use of language. They say, "I am always broke. Money never stays with me. Life is hard. I can't afford this," without realizing that every declaration is a command, and the law of life takes those words and makes them flesh. Words are not empty sounds, they are seeds. They fall into the soil of consciousness and grow into circumstances that reflect their nature. A man who constantly speaks of poverty will harvest poverty, while a woman who speaks of abundance will find herself surrounded by it. This is why it is said that your tongue has the power of life and death. You may build or destroy your prosperity by the language you use. Think of your words as spells, they enchant your future. When you complain about lack, you conjure more lack. When you affirm wealth, you call wealth into being. Every word is a decree, and the world you inhabit is the result of the decrees you have spoken, whether knowingly or ignorantly. If you desire to change your financial destiny, the first step is to change the language that flows from your lips. When you begin to speak words of abundance, you align yourself with the frequency of prosperity. Affirmations such as, "I am rich in every good way," "Money flows freely to me," "I live in a universe of unlimited supply," are not empty wishes. They are keys that unlock higher states of consciousness. Spoken consistently and with belief, they reprogram the subconscious mind, which is the silent engine driving every outward experience. The subconscious does not argue, it does not reason, it simply accepts whatever words you impress upon it and works tirelessly to manifest them. If you fill it with affirmations of wealth, it begins to attract wealth with magnetic force. Consider how a farmer plants seeds. He does not question whether the soil will produce a harvest. He knows that if he plants wheat, wheat will grow, and if he plants weeds, weeds will grow. So it is with words. You cannot plant words of lack and expect abundance. You cannot plant words of fear and expect confidence. You must plant deliberately, with care, with vision. And once planted, you must continue to water your affirmations with faith, refusing to dig them up with contradictory speech. Many people nullify their own affirmations by speaking abundance in the morning and poverty by noon. They declare, "I am wealthy," but later tell a friend, "I'm broke." They affirm, "Money flows easily to me," but then mutter, "I can't afford this." Such contradictions cancel the creative power of their words, for the subconscious obeys the dominant vibration, and usually fear and doubt outweigh fleeting affirmations. To truly master the power of words, you must become vigilant. You must listen carefully to your own speech and correct yourself when you slip into negative declarations. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," say, "I choose not to spend on this right now." Instead of saying, "I never have enough," say, "More is always on its way to me." Instead of saying, "Money is so hard to get," say, "Money comes easily and frequently." Every shift in language shifts your vibration, and every shift in vibration shifts your reality. You do not wait until you feel rich to speak abundance. You speak abundance until you feel rich, and in time, the outer world will conform to the inner conviction. Words also carry emotion, and emotion is the fire that fuels creation. Speaking an affirmation without feeling is like planting a seed without watering it. You may repeat the words, but they will not take root. When you say, "I am prosperous," feel prosperity. Let the emotion of wealth, joy, and gratitude fill your body as you speak. When you say, "Money flows freely to me," imagine the feeling of receiving it, of being surrounded by ease and plenty. Words spoken with conviction and feeling are unstoppable. They carry the full weight of creative power. Observe how children believe every word spoken to them. If told they are bright, they carry that belief into their future. If told they are foolish, they embody that identity. The subconscious mind is childlike. It accepts what is spoken with authority. You are always speaking to your subconscious, either empowering it with truth or enslaving it with lies. Be as careful with your words to yourself as you would be with words spoken to a child, for the subconscious takes every word seriously and sets about making it real. It is also important to understand that words spoken about others carry power as well. When you speak negatively of another person's financial state, saying, "They'll never succeed. They are so foolish with money," you not only plant seeds in their field, but also in your own. Every curse spoken outward rebounds inward. Likewise, every blessing spoken outward multiplies blessings for yourself. When you bless others with words of increase, when you declare, "May they prosper, may they succeed, may their wealth expand," you align yourself with the vibration of abundance, and that vibration cannot help but return to you. The world we live in is saturated with negative financial language. People constantly repeat phrases like, "The economy is bad," "Everything is so expensive," "Times are hard." Such declarations are not neutral. They create collective poverty consciousness. But you must rise above the collective voice and speak a higher truth. Even when the world says there is lack, you declare abundance. Even when others complain of difficulty, you affirm ease. You refuse to join in the chorus of limitation, for you know that your words shape your personal reality regardless of external circumstances. You may test this principle easily in your own life. Spend 30 days speaking only words of increase about your finances. Refuse to utter a single complaint or negative declaration. Each morning affirm, "I live in a universe of infinite abundance. Money flows to me now in expected and unexpected ways. I am prosperous, I am blessed, I am free." Each time you spend money, bless it and say, "This money returns to me multiplied." Each time you face a bill, declare, "This is easily paid in divine order." At the end of those 30 days, you will see evidence of change, perhaps an unexpected gift, a new opportunity, or simply a shift in your sense of peace. Words always return with fruit, and if you sow carefully, the harvest will astonish you. Remember too that silence is better than destructive speech. If you cannot yet bring yourself to speak words of abundance, at least refrain from speaking words of lack. Do not add fuel to fear by declaring it aloud. Hold your tongue until you can replace negative declarations with words of truth. Every pause, every moment of restraint, protects you from sowing seeds you do not wish to reap. Over time, this restraint becomes mastery, and mastery of words is mastery of life. Your words are the bridge between thought and manifestation. They carry invisible energy into the visible world. They are the messengers you send ahead to prepare the conditions you will later walk into. If you send messengers of despair, you will find despair awaiting you. If you send messengers of abundance, you will find abundance awaiting you. This is not superstition, it is law unchanging and exact. Those who mock it remain trapped by their own careless declarations, while those who honor it step into freedom. Speak only what you wish to live, and watch how life bends to the authority of your tongue. You cannot hold on tightly and expect abundance to flow, for the hand that clutches in fear is the hand that closes itself to receiving. Prosperity is not found in hoarding, but in circulation, and the law of giving and receiving is one of the most powerful spiritual principles that governs financial freedom. Everything in the universe is built on this rhythm of exchange. The ocean gives water to the clouds release rain upon the earth produces crops, and the cycle continues unbroken. If at any point one part of the cycle refused to give, the flow of life itself would wither. So it is with money. When you hold it with fear, believing it to be scarce, you cut yourself off from the flow. But when you release it with joy and generosity, you become a channel through which supply never ceases to move. The one who learns to give freely proves to the universe that they already live in abundance. Think about this truth: giving is not the act of a pauper clinging to their last coin, but the natural expression of a soul that knows it can never run out. To give, whether it is money, time, kindness, or resources, is to declare, "I am wealthy enough to share." And because life reflects your inner declaration, that wealth multiplies and returns. The hand that releases is the same hand that receives, and the open hand never stays empty. Too often, people misunderstand giving. They believe that when they give, they are losing something. They see their bank account decrease, their wallet grow lighter, and they panic, imagining that the gift has diminished them. But the truth is the opposite. When you give, you send a message to your subconscious mind and to the universe that you have more than enough, that you trust the flow of supply, that you believe in the law of increase. That belief is magnetic, and it attracts more. Every coin you release with joy is like a seed planted in fertile soil. You may not see the harvest immediately, but in time, it returns multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The quality of your giving matters. Giving in fear, resentment, or obligation carries no power, for the vibration behind it is one of lack. You must give with joy, with gratitude, with the certainty that you are adding to the circulation of good. When you bless what you give, it becomes charged with energy and carries that energy into the world. Imagine handing money to someone and silently affirming, "This money multiplies blessings wherever it goes and returns to me increased." That thought attaches itself to the gift, and like a boomerang, it circles back to you. The act of giving becomes an act of creation, a spiritual investment that yields invisible dividends until it manifests visibly. The law of giving and receiving also teaches that selfishness and greed cut off prosperity. When you try to take without giving, you disrupt the balance of the cycle. You may gain for a season, but sooner or later, stagnation follows. True wealth does not flow to the miser, for the miser hoards what was meant to circulate. Money, like water, becomes stagnant when withheld. It loses its vitality, its movement, and eventually its power. But when money flows through you, when you allow yourself to be a vessel for circulation, you tap into an endless stream. You discover that the more you give, the more you have to give, for the universe replenishes every channel that pours out blessings. Some believe they cannot afford to give. They say, "I will give when I have more," not realizing that it is the act of giving that creates the condition of having more. If you cannot give from the little you have, you will not give from the much, for giving is not about the size of the gift, but the spirit in which it is given. A small offering, given in faith, carries greater power than a large one given grudgingly. The widow's mite, blessed with sincerity, outweighs the gold of kings offered in vanity. The law responds to faith, not to numbers, and it is faith expressed in action that opens the door to increase. Tithing has long been recognized as one of the sacred practices that align with this law. When you take a portion of your income and return it to the source, whether through a place of worship, through charity, or through supporting good causes, you acknowledge that you are not the origin of your wealth, but a steward of infinite supply. That acknowledgement breaks the grip of fear and reminds you that you are always connected to something greater than yourself. Many who practice consistent giving testify that money stretches further, opportunities open, and blessings appear in ways beyond calculation. It is not superstition but law of what you release with faith returns with increase. This principle extends beyond money. Every act of generosity plants seeds. A kind word given freely may return as encouragement in your own time of need. Time spent helping another may come back to you as unexpected assistance. A smile, a gesture of compassion, an act of service. All are expressions of giving, and all are subject to the same law of return. Life cannot withhold from the giver, for giving and receiving are one motion, two sides of the same coin. To cut off one is to cut off the other. To embody this principle fully, you must shift from a mindset of loss to a mindset of circulation. When money leaves your hand, do not mourn it. Do not say, "It is gone." Instead say, "It is on its way back to me, multiplied." Picture it moving through the world, creating good, blessing others, circulating in unseen ways until it finds its path back into your life. This is not imagination alone, it is aligning with the reality of how energy flows. What you send out returns, and what you give with faith can never truly be lost. Fear will always resist giving. It will whisper, "Hold on, keep it, you may not get more." That is the lie of lack. But the moment you release the gift despite fear, you break the chains of limitation. Each act of giving is an act of courage, a declaration of trust that you live in an abundant universe. That trust is rewarded, for faith always draws supply. In time, giving becomes second nature, no longer a sacrifice but a joy. you discover the secret that many never realize: you cannot outgive life. The more you give, the more you receive, until the flow becomes so constant that lack loses all meaning. The practice of giving transforms not only your finances but your spirit. It softens the heart, dissolves selfishness, and awakens compassion. It turns you from a hoarder of blessings into a distributor of blessings, and in that transformation, you align with the divine order of the universe. For you were not created to clutch in fear, but to overflow in love. And when you live in overflow, financial freedom becomes not a distant dream, but a natural state of being. Without vision, people perish, and without a clear vision of prosperity, finances wither like a plant deprived of sunlight. Vision is the blueprint of abundance, the mental picture that precedes material manifestation. Nothing comes into form without first being imagined, and wealth is no exception. A person who cannot see themselves as prosperous will never hold prosperity in their hands, for the outer world only reflects the inner image. If you see yourself as always struggling, barely surviving, weighed down by debt and limitation, life will confirm that picture again and again. But if you hold within your mind a vision of freedom, joy, and financial ease, that inner image begins to draw the outer conditions to match it. Vision is the magnet, and reality is only its reflection. Consider the architect who builds a great building. Before the first stone is laid, before the first nail is hammered, there exists a complete design in the mind of the architect. The workers on the site may not yet see the finished structure, but the vision is already real in blueprint form. Without the blueprint, the building would collapse into chaos. So too with wealth. If you live without vision, hoping vaguely for things to get better but never painting a clear picture, your financial life will be disordered, uncertain, fragile. But when you hold a vivid, detailed, joyful picture of prosperity, you have given the subconscious mind a plan, and it begins working to construct it in your outer world. Vision must be more than wishful thinking. It must be vivid, consistent, and saturated with emotion. When you see yourself free of debt, do not simply imagine numbers erased from a page. See yourself walking into freedom, breathing with ease, smiling with joy, blessing others with what once burdened you. When you envision a life of abundance, do not simply see stacks of money, see the comfort of your home, the opportunities for travel, the ability to give generously, the peace of knowing that supply is endless. The more real the picture becomes within, the sooner it manifests without. The mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. It responds to the picture you consistently impress upon it. It is not enough to dream vaguely of wealth. You must create a definite vision. A vague desire produces vague results. To say, "I want more money," is too indefinite. Even a single coin would satisfy that statement. But to declare, "I see myself living in a beautiful home, free of all debt, with income flowing to me from multiple channels, with more than enough to bless others," is to paint a picture so strong that the subconscious must bring it into form. The clearer your vision, the stronger the magnetism. Ambiguity weakens the signal, but clarity strengthens it until the universe cannot resist. There is a reason so many successful people speak of visualization as a daily practice. They understand that the mind creates first, and the body and circumstances follow. By rehearsing success within the imagination, they prepare the soil for the harvest. They do not wait until conditions improve to see themselves as prosperous. They see themselves as prosperous until conditions conform. This is the great secret. You do not receive wealth and then believe in it. You believe in it and then receive it. The order cannot be reversed. Doubt will always attempt to cloud vision. The moment you begin to picture yourself wealthy, fear may whisper, "Who are you to imagine this? You could never achieve it." Look at your debts, your limitations, your circumstances. But you must refuse to let doubt blur the picture. Circumstances are temporary, but vision is eternal. What you see now in your bank account is not the final word. It is only a reflection of past beliefs. By holding firmly to a new vision, you rewrite the future. Every great achievement was once impossible in the eyes of the world, yet possible in the mind of the dreamer. You must also protect your vision from negative influence. Do not share your dreams with those who scoff, ridicule, or speak words of limitation. To expose your tender vision to such energy is like leaving a young plant unguarded in the frost. Instead, nurture your vision in the warmth of faith, in the light of affirmations, in the soil of gratitude. Speak of it to yourself daily, write it down, meditate upon it. Breathe life into it with every word and thought. In time, your vision will grow strong enough to withstand any storm, and when others finally see it manifested, they will marvel at what they once dismissed as fantasy. Holding a vision of wealth also reshapes your actions. When you see yourself as prosperous, you begin to make choices that align with prosperity. You carry yourself with confidence, you invest in your growth, you treat money with respect, you notice opportunities that once passed you by. Your outer behavior adjusts to the inner picture, and those adjustments open doors. A person who sees themselves as poor avoids opportunity out of fear, but a person who sees themselves as wealthy moves boldly, expecting success. The vision precedes the courage, and the courage precedes the result. Imagination is the workshop of the spirit, and every fortune is first built there. Train yourself to take time daily to enter that workshop. Close your eyes and step into the life you desire as though it were already yours. See it in detail, the comfort, the generosity, the ease, the joy. Feel it with every sense, the textures, the sounds, the fragrances of abundance. Immerse yourself so completely that when you return to the outer world, you carry the energy of that vision with you. That energy influences everything, the way you speak, the way you walk, the way you think, and in time, the outer world conforms. Remember that vision is not fantasy, it is spiritual reality awaiting expression. Many dismiss imagination as childish, yet it is the most powerful tool of creation. Everything you touch today, the chair you sit on, the clothes you wear, the device in your hand, was once only an idea in someone's mind. If imagination can create objects, it can create wealth. The difference between the dreamer who succeeds and the one who fails is persistence. The one who persists in holding the vision, despite doubt, despite delay, despite appearances, is the one who ultimately sees it manifest. Vision is also meant to expand beyond personal gain. When you see yourself wealthy, do not limit the picture to what you alone can enjoy. Envision the ways your wealth blesses others. See yourself giving generously, supporting causes, uplifting lives. Abundance that circulates is always sustained, but abundance that is hoarded withers. The greater your vision of generosity, the greater the supply that flows to you, for the universe entrusts more to those who use it for the good of many. To hold a vision of wealth is to plant a seed that cannot die. It may take time to sprout. It may require watering through faith and gratitude. It may need protection from the weeds of doubt, but once planted and nourished, it must grow. Wealth begins in the unseen, in the vision carried within. And when that vision is strong, detailed, and persistent, the outer world has no choice but to conform.